Besiege VR launches later this week, and I've put in a fair few hours into it over the last couple of days, and I'm pleased to say this is far better than I imagined in a number of ways. I've personally never played Besiege, which is a massively popular flat screen game with over 45,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam alone, and it's basically a trial and error physics puzzle game that really comes to life in VR. And if you were ever the type to play with Lego, you can literally go crazy building some of the most insane and imaginative medieval weapons and mechanical devices. You can build literally whatever you want within a certain boundary, and obviously you have to adhere to the laws of physics. But basically there is no right or wrong way to approach this game most of the time. Now I say most of the time because it really depends on the task or puzzle you need to complete to progress to the next stage. Sometimes it's just straightforward and outright destruction. Destroy the castle, set everyone on fire, kill all the sheep, kill all the guards, and there's certain levels where you have to cause a certain amount of damage to progress to the next level, of which there seems to be a lot of content available. When you enter the really nice and polished hub area, you'll see a world floating in front of you, and there's 4 maps to conquer, and on each of these maps it's around 15 to 20 levels. And what I really like about this is that I didn't really understand from the trailer the variety of missions available. I simply thought this was going to be an all-out breaking stuff style game, but there's some levels that really took me by surprise, like this level where I had to kill a flock of seagulls circling a fort, which looked super easy, but it soon turned out to be the biggest curveball the game had thrown at me throughout my playtime, and it made me have to rethink all my previous strategies. I had to build something that would cause damage very high up, and when you build there is a limit on height, width and weight. So at first I went in with flamethrowers, and then I learned how to increase the range of the flames to ensure I burnt enough of the seagulls to pass the test. There's also some flying levels, which I have to admit I haven't got to grips with yet, because making a flying machine seems really complicated, but that may also be down to some of the bugs in my version of the game, which I will go into full details about just in case they aren't fixed for the launch. There's some levels where you simply have to grab or roll items or elements into certain areas or goals, and overall I've just had a really good time just chilling out and planning different strategies for each of the puzzles. The graphics on Quest are really nice, even though there's nothing really going on in the backgrounds, and the animations and interactions are fun, and there's a learning curve which I feel may be a bit sudden for some players. For example, when you start the game it does a nice job of some hand holding to get you going, and then suddenly and without explanation you get everything to play with, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But that, I would say, is the nature of the game, and as I said, this is where trial and error comes in. There was one level where I simply thought all I need is a lot of firepower, so I built a massive machine with a ton of cannons, only for it to literally explode as soon as I pressed fire, because the amount of power going off all at once meant my machine just simply wasn't strong enough to take the force, and that meant back to the drawing board. And this is actually the reason I like it. It can be a bit frustrating, so I'm not sure this will be something everyone enjoys, but personally I've had a real blast of it so far, and it's super satisfying, and when you complete some levels it reminds me of how you felt when you completed levels in Lemmings. It's a great recipe for a game for those of you who want to be creative, but there is some issues I have come across, but this again could be down to this build being early access, but I have to report on them anyway. In this game you have a build phase and a play phase, and every time you click play and then stop play to restart the challenge again, the in-game camera faces you the wrong way nearly every single time, which does get a little bit grating after a while. The text boxes started stretching out, becoming completely unreadable, requiring me to fully restart the game, and for some reasons buttons and icons just stopped interacting and working altogether. It's not too much of an issue, and you can actually save your current builds, and you'll even find there's some pre-builds in the game which will help you overcome some of the obstacles, but I think I had to restart the game around 5 times. There's also a God mode, which isn't counted towards any progression, but it's still fun setting everything alight, using Wind Blast, which is similar to a force push, and then there's Zero Gravity mode. Overall though, I can't help but find this an extremely fun and enjoyable physics-based game, and the price is around $20, which seems pretty reasonable. I've pinned an affiliate code in the top of the comment section to save you 10% if you want to pick it up. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you to anyone who leaves a like on the video, subscribes for more VR content, and I'll see you all on the next one.